Welcome to Wisdom-Trek with Gramps. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, and we are on day 2451 of our trek. The purpose of Wisdom-Trek is to create a legacy of wisdom, to seek out discernment and insights, and to boldly grow where few have chosen to grow before. Today is the 20th lesson, or a segment of Theology Thursday, utilizing excerpts from the book titled, I Dare You Not to Bore Me with the Bible, written by Hebrew scholar and professor, the late Dr. Michael S Heiser. We will invest a couple years going through the entire Bible, exploring short biblical lessons that you may have not received in Bible classes or church. The Bible is a wonderful book. Its pages reveal the epic story of God's redemption of humankind and the long bitter conflict against evil. Yet it is also a book that may seem strange to us at times. Because God's Word was written for us, it wasn't written to us. Today our lesson is 1003 BC, the census. Who authorized it, God or Satan? One of the most vexing problems in the Old Testament is how to parse parallel accounts such as 1 Chronicles chapter 21 verses 1 through 17 and 2 Samuel chapter 24 verses 1 through 25. I'm going to read two verses from each of those passages. 1 Chronicles chapter 21 verses 1 and 2. Satan rose up against Israel and caused David to take a census of the people of Israel. So David said to Joab, the commander of the army, Take a census of all the people of Israel from Beersheba in the south and to Dan in the north, and bring me a report so that I may know how many there are. And then from 2 Samuel chapter 24 verses 1 and 2. Once again the anger of the Lord burned against Israel, and he caused David to harm them by taking a census. Go out and count the people of Israel and Judah, the Lord told him. So the king said to Joab, the commander of the army, Take a census of all the tribes of Israel, from Dan in the north to Beersheba in the south, so I may know how many people there are. These two accounts are nearly identical, save from one glaring disparity. The Chronicles version has Satan as David's instigator, while 2 Samuel names Yahweh, the God of Israel, as the provocateur. The Chronicles account notes that David's act was evil in the sight of God, but this line is omitted in 2 Samuel. Both accounts have God posing three punishments before David, but David leaves the decision to the Lord. The angel of Yahweh executes a plague in the land in both versions, but we see that the two accounts are contradictory. The options for resolution are all somewhat disconcerting. If we want to blame Satan, we must identify Yahweh as Satan. The reverse strategy requires that we identify Satan with the sovereign Yahweh. If Satan can somehow be removed from the picture, then we are faced with the fact that Yahweh incited David to do something, and then he punished him for doing so. Is there a way out of this mess? The solution is surprisingly straightforward. In the Old Testament, the Hebrew word Satan, or Satan, is not a proper personal name. This is because a definite article in Hebrew, the word the, is nearly always attached to it. Like English, Hebrew does not permit a definite article to be paired with a proper personal name. I don't call myself the Guthrie. The noun Satan or Satan, paired with an indefinite article, simply means the adversary. There is only a handful of places in the Hebrew Bible where Satan is not preceded by the definite articles. 1 Chronicles chapter 21 verse 1 is one of them, and thus many interpreters see this as a rare instance as being known as Satan, appearing in the Old Testament. If this is the case, though, we have a blatant contradiction. There is a better explanation. The only other place in the Old Testament where Satan lacks a definite article is the term used of a divine figure in Numbers chapter 22, verse 22, where we read that the angel of Yahweh stood in the way of Balaam, his donkey, as an adversary, or Satan. The angel was opposing Balaam. He was a divinely appointed adversary, like the Satan in 1 Chronicles chapter 21. The connection between the word Satan, or Satan, and the angel of Yahweh is crucial to understand the discrepancies between 1 Chronicles chapter 21:1 and 2 Samuel chapter 24:1. In both accounts, the angel dispenses God's judgment upon David. God and the angel of the Lord were frequently identified with each other in the Old Testament, such as in Exodus chapter 3, Joshua chapter 5, and Judges chapter 6. Thus, it seems that we don't have Satan or Satan, God's cosmic enemy, in the Chronicles passage. Instead, the writer is referring to the angel, who was Yahweh in human form. This means that in both writers of Chronicles and 2 Samuel, we have Yahweh initiating the census, and there is no contradiction. One question looms despite this solution, and what is that? Why do we have Yahweh inciting David to do something that he would punish him for later? Both accounts begin with saying Yahweh was angry with Israel, not David. Yahweh chose to use David as his instrument of judgment against the nation. In a similar way, he would use Nebuchadnezzar a century later. As the Babylonian king was still accountable for his actions, so was David. Judgment and its means both belong to the Lord, but human agents are still accountable. And that's our brief Bible lesson for today. And I hope that you can say, I dare you not to bore me with the Bible, and of course, not be bored. Now, if you found this podcast insightful, please subscribe and leave us a review. Then encourage your friends and family to join us and come along with us tomorrow for another day of Wisdom-Trek, creating a legacy. Thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide, your mentor, but most importantly, I am your friend as I serve you through the Wisdom-Trek podcast and journal. As we take this trek of life together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and leave a living legacy each day. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and create a great day every day. See you next time for more daily wisdom.